Hello and welcome to Chabot News. On October 5th, 2016, I'm AJ. In today's news, we'll have the latest on the national-wide clown crisis and on a 12-year-old girl who just earned Hayward's biggest achievement. Sean will talk to us about this week's must-see television shows, and Victor will tell us about the Raiders and the Niners performance this weekend. All that and more on Chabot News. As more stories about the creepy clowns surfacing across the nation, two Bay Area school districts have revealed that several schools under their jurisdiction has been threatened on social media accounts depicting pictures of clowns. On Tuesday afternoon, Oakland's Unified School District released a bulletin regarding several messages sent by clown accounts threatening violence. Oakland's Unified has stated that while authorities across the country have believed that the threats have been sent across the country are hoax, but both district police and Oakland law enforcement are investigating the threats and will provide extra patrol for schools. Meanwhile, this past Monday, on a Twitter account going by @ClownGang1, sent several tweets towards the schools in the Fairfield area. While the Fairfield police have determined that there is no credible threat to the schools, they did state that there will be police officers on campus for precautionary measures. As a reminder to all of our viewers, we remind you to be safe and stay vigilant of your surroundings. It's the beginning of October, and with that comes with the facilities of Fleet Week. Now on the 36th year, Fleet Week pays tribute to the Martini forces and has been a major attraction to the tourists and locals. While the air shows won't be starting until Thursday afternoon, the legendary Blue Angels stunt pilots are already arriving in the Bay Area and are ready to perform this show this coming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, celebrating their 70th anniversary this year. The Blue Angels have been a staple of Fleet Week for several decades. While the event does generate an estimated $10 million annually, if you do hate traffic, we do suggest that you keep away from San Francisco next week, as the estimated 1 million attendees this event. And now here's Lorenzo with the outside West City Slickers Farm.
I'm here inside of West Oakland City Slickers Farms at 2847 Peralta Street in Oakland. The access to this land in West Oakland empowers locals in the community to supply their own fresh homegrown produce, not having to rely so heavily on the limited, expensive, and often only genetically modified produce from grocery store chains. Community gardens like this one here in Oakland serve as significant importance to small communities for building strong connections between its members and form a security within the neighborhood. Their mission here at City Slickers Farms is to facilitate the opportunity for community members and their families to have access to land or other resources necessary to meet the basic health needs for organic food. For more information, you can contact them here at 510-764-4241. With a growing awareness and desire for nutritious, affordable produce and a strong need for positive relationships in our neighborhood like any other time in America, options like community gardens can be a part of the answer many are looking for.
One of Hayward's highest honors went to a 12-year-old girl Tuesday night after she helped save her father's life after an armed robbery. Sarah Avalos was beaming when she received a Good Civilian Award for her bravery March 15th. That day, Avalos' family came to Hayward Ochoa's middle school and went to meet a man they thought they were selling a car on Craigslist. But he had other plans. The men allegedly robbed them and then shot Benjamin Avalos. The father bled while the 11-year-old daughter dialed 911. She described street signs and buildings. The police officer found them in just minutes. Hayward Police Department Sergeant Brandon Alani stated, "Dad wasn't in good shape. Mom was hysterical, little brother was crying, but Sarah was calm in the backseat. She's an amazing woman." Melanie nominated Sarah for the award. She was the first recipient in more than 20 years. Police made the arrest of the assailant In the meantime, Sarah is considered a career in law enforcement. The Alameda County District Attorney says 6 people have been arrested in a connection to 3 home invasions on Fremont, Livermore, and Danville. However, as far as no links to other robberies that have been occurred in the Contra Costa area, including the armed robbery in Orinda. Home security footage taken from the home in Fremont Mission Hills this past August showed that 5 armed robberies coming through the patio door. The video captured them in their identifying attire as they moved through the house. It was one of 2 home invasions that happened in Fremont in the same month. A wide range of investigations by the FBI Safety Street Task Force result in the 6 arrest people on Friday and Monday night for the home invasion robberies in Fremont, in Danville, and Livermore. There is a number of home invasions robberies that are similar in nature, but they're continuing to investigate. One of these included the Orinda, but no arrests have been made. Says Contra Costa Deputy District Attorney Barry Grove. The Orinda armed robbery happened last week outside the home of Orinda School Board member Carl Brown and her husband Thomas Splanding. This is one of the several recent armed robberies in the cities of Contra Costa County, which the FBI is investigating. One of those happened in Pinole, and the DA stressed that this is an ongoing investigation. At least one case involves a murder. 1 arrests are expected and is seen there. And now to Sean for the latest in entertainment.
Thanks, AJ. Luke Cage has arrived on Netflix, third of Marvel superheroes to headline their own television show on the streaming service. The new series sees the unbreakable hero step into the spotlight as he tackles crime and corruption in Harlem. But people don't seem to be pleased by the lack of Caucasians on the show. The hero of Netflix's Luke Cage is a hoodie-wearing African-American superhero living in Harlem with skin that can't be broken by bullets. He presents a powerful image in a country where almost every day brings another story of African-American men being shot down. But a small number of white people on Twitter say they can't get into the show because it has few white characters. Where's the diversity? Does diversity mean no white people? One Twitter user wrote about the latest Marvel Netflix series. Can you imagine watching TV and seeing your race being barely represented? It would be like, well, decades of watching TV for anyone who isn't white. Luke Cage, the comic book character, was born in part of Marvel Comics' effort to chase the blaxploitation trend of the early 1970s. Cage, who is played by Mike Colter, debuted in 1972's Luke Cage, Hero for Hire #1. He and other African-American heroes, including Black Panther and the Falcon, helped diversify Marvel's legions of white heroes. But if you thought the color line wasn't disintegrated in 1972, it didn't. There's still people who wish Luke Cage wasn't so black. Now we go to Marvel's rival DC. Last season's final episode of The Flash ended with a momentous decision by Barry Allen. Go back in time and save his mother's life. That kind of tampering with history is bound to have enormous consequences. In fact, Season 3 is kicking off with an episode called Flashpoint, signaling the show is bringing in one of DC's Comics' largest ever crossover events to television. So what will we see in the Arrowverse version of things? Well, because the world isn't nearly as fleshed out with the superheroes as either of the previous iterations, there won't be any Batman, Wonder Woman, or Aquaman. And though, theoretically, there could be an appearance from Green Arrow, any of the Legends of Tomorrow, or even Supergirl and Superman. Legends executive producer Phil Klemmer says that there will be only 2 major crossovers as of last year, and this won't happen until episode 7. Flash EP Aaron Helbling explains that the Flashpoint universe won't be that big of a shakeup. Of course, there's still the Legion of Doom and unholy collaboration between the Flash's biggest enemies coming later in the season. And there does need to be an explanation of how Supergirl becomes part of the CW continuity. Flashpoint may explain all these things and more, but we'll have to wait until later in the year to figure out just how. That's it for entertainment. Now back to AJ.
Thanks, Sean. On September 30th, the White House initiative for African Americans held a summit at Skyline College. The summit featured a discussion between schools, officials, and students that addressed the social and educational environment of communities of color. The students talked about how they became accustomed to the pressures and that comes with the pursuit of college degrees and the benefits of attending a community college. Chabot's own Ben Nash was one of the many students who took part in the seminar and spoke about their struggles and how programs could assist students could be a great asset. Nash went on record to say that the toll it takes to exceed expectations can be heavy because you are expected to represent your own entire culture. Nash also went on to say that California's community college systems is a very attractive option and very welcoming to people of color. The seminar held at Skyline College was one of the near dozen seminars that took place across the country that discussed the support and resources available for students as well as recommendations for what can be improved so that schools could offer more opportunities for students. Now Victor for sports.
Thanks, AJ. This past Sunday morning, the 2-1 Oakland Raiders traveled to Baltimore to take on the 3-0 Baltimore Ravens. The Raiders were looking to build upon last week's win against the Titans and did just that. A closely contested game for the Raiders as they handed the Ravens their first L of the season, thanks to play by star quarterback Derek Carr, who completed 25 of his 35 passes for 199 yards and had 3 touchdowns, 3 of them which were actually thrown to veteran wideout Michael Crabtree. Free agent signing Reggie Nelson clinched the game for the Raiders, and when he broke up a pass on 4th down that would have put the Ravens in field goal range with 43 seconds left in the game. After this 28-27 nail-biter, the Raiders will host their division rivals, the San Diego Chargers, this Sunday afternoon. On Sunday afternoon, the San Francisco 49ers hosted their bitter rivals, the Dallas Cowboys. The Niners were trying to get back out of the two humiliating losses that they had the prior 2 weeks. Led by quarterback Blaine Gabbert, the Niners offense got off to a fast start, scoring 2 touchdowns in the first half. However, the Cowboys would not go down quietly. Led by rookie studs Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, the Cowboys offense woke up in the second quarter scoring 2 touchdowns to tie the game before the half whistle was blew. Ultimately, the duo proved to be too much for the Niners defense to handle in the second half as the Niners were handed their 3rd loss of the season. To add insult to injury, the Niners will be without their best player, All-Pro linebacker Navarro Bowman, for the remainder of the season as he blew out his Achilles. Hope you'll get better soon, Navarro, and will be better than ever next season. The Niners will be hosting their rivals this Thursday night, the Arizona Cardinals at Levi Stadium. That's all for sports this week. Back to you, AJ.
Front yards are being ripped apart in neighborhoods in San Jose, and while residents are well aware of who the culprit is, the torn up lawns are the work of wild pigs being on a feeding frenzy, and the residents said. They strike in the middle of the night, digging up lawns in the evergreen neighborhood of South San Jose. They came in and I saw a huge pack of them, and they were effectively ripping up the sod, said the resident Ron Mitchison. Mitchison and his neighbors said that there were 20 wild boars and that they were destroying more than half a dozen lawns in the neighborhood over the past week. Kevin McFridge lives up the street from Mitchison. The pigs even took out his genuine plants. McFridge said Mitchison believes that the pigs came from the ranch land across the street from his home, and he said that the similar problem about 10 years ago, but it stopped after the neighbors had together to secure a fence. Mitchison even put up a device that shines a red light, eliminating the pig predators. He hopes it will be enough to keep the hungry hunters away. Mitchison's 10-year-old daughter, Katie, built 2 fairy houses in the front yard. She's so worried about the pigs. She put up a warning up I put up the signs so that the fairies would, so that the fairies know not to come at night because the pigs might come. Katie said. Which one? Oh. That's all for today's news this week, and thank you for all the students in the Mass Communications Department of Chabot College for making this production possible. And you can watch us at any time at chabottv.net. Stay tuned for KCTH 27 on Comcast for more Chabot TV.